Your home should push you forward, not pull you back. Most people think success is about what they add to their life. More gadgets, more inspiration, more hacks, more things. But real growth often begins not with what you add, but with what you remove. If your home feels heavy, unmotivating, or mentally exhausting, you're not lazy. You're surrounded by the wrong energy. And that energy is coming from things you've let stay too long. The truth is simple. There are objects in your home silently holding you back. They carry old memories, old habits, old emotions you never made peace with. They take up space that you desperately need for clarity, confidence, and forward momentum. And the longer you keep them, the more they become invisible chains around your potential. This audiobook is going to change that. In these chapters, you'll learn exactly what to remove from your home immediately. 5 categories of things that are secretly killing your drive and your focus. This isn't about fancy interior design or buying new stuff. It's about cutting away what doesn't serve you so you can finally breathe, think clearly, and move forward without feeling like you're dragging your past behind you. This is deep work, not surface-level cleaning. This is about changing how you feel inside your own walls, how you think in your own space, and how you show up in your own life. Because your home is not just where you sleep or store your things. Your home is where your habits live, and your habits shape your future. If you clear out what's holding you down, you'll feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Power. And it will come fast. One of the most powerful ways to change your life doesn't start with motivation or some complicated system. It starts with your environment. The things you see every day influence how you feel about yourself. Quietly, consistently, and often without you realizing it. That's why the first category of things you need to remove is this. Anything in your home that makes you feel like a failure. You know exactly what I mean. That dusty treadmill sitting in the corner like a quiet reminder of all the workouts you didn't do. That stack of business books you swore you'd read but never even opened. That vision board full of dreams you never followed through on. That expensive dress you bought for a special occasion that never happened. These objects aren't just things. They're emotional triggers. They whisper to you when no one else is around. You didn't finish, you gave up, you're not good enough. And over time, you start believing them. You start thinking maybe you are someone who doesn't follow through, someone who gives up when things get hard, someone who just doesn't have what it takes. But here's the truth. You're not lazy, you're not broken, and you're not a failure. You've just been living surrounded by silent reminders of moments that didn't go the way you planned. And that ends today. You need to do a full inventory of your space. Go room by room. Open drawers. Look on shelves. Check your closet. Examine the corners you haven't touched in months. And when you see something that gives you that little knot in your stomach, that tiny drop in energy, that's your sign. That's one of the items that's weighing on you. This isn't about shame. This is about freedom. Removing something that reminds you of failure isn't quitting. It's choosing not to let your past define you anymore. You're not deleting the memory or pretending it never happened. You're just deciding that you don't need to live with physical triggers that keep you stuck. The moment you get rid of an item tied to failure, you send yourself a powerful message. That moment does not define me anymore. I am free to grow. Your space becomes lighter. Your breathing changes. You walk into the room and feel peace instead of pressure. Because right now, your home is talking to you, even when you're not paying attention. Every wall, every shelf, every drawer is saying something. And if most of it says, you failed or you didn't finish, it's no wonder you feel heavy before your day even starts. When you clear those things out, you change the conversation. Your space starts saying, you are capable. You are moving forward. You are becoming someone stronger every day. And that message is powerful. Pick one area, just one. Don't try to do your whole house in a day. Maybe it's your desk. Maybe it's that closet you avoid. Maybe it's the corner of your bedroom where you stash unfinished projects. Pick something up and ask yourself one question. Does this make me feel proud or does it make me feel small? If it makes you feel small, it goes. Yes, you'll feel resistance. You'll hear that voice in your head saying, but what if I need it later? What if I regret this? That's normal. That's fear talking. But fear is not your decision maker anymore. Put it in a box, donate it, throw it out, whatever you need to do, just remove it from your daily space. Your physical space is a reflection of your internal state. When you're surrounded by reminders of your past failures, your brain stays in that loop, subconsciously doubting itself, subconsciously holding back, subconsciously preparing to lose again. But when you change your environment, you change your default mental state. You'll feel lighter, clearer, more focused. You'll find it easier to work, easier to rest, easier to feel confident. This isn't just cleaning, it's transformation. Some of the things you'll remove might feel hard to part with. Maybe it's an expensive item you never used. Maybe it's something tied to a painful memory. Maybe it's something you kept because letting it go felt like admitting defeat. But you need to understand this. Keeping it is not helping you heal. It's keeping you trapped in the very moment you're trying to outgrow. You're not your past mistakes. You're not your old decisions. You're not the version of you who bought that thing thinking it would change everything. You're someone new now. Someone stronger, someone who wants clarity, someone who is ready to grow. And you deserve a space that reflects that version of you, not the old one. When you walk into your home, it should feel like your next chapter, not your old one. Removing items tied to failure is how you close that door and step fully into who you're becoming. No more silent voices saying you're not enough. No more reminders of what you didn't do. Just a clear, focused environment that pushes you forward, one step at a time. And once you take this first step, momentum takes over. You start seeing your space differently. You start seeing yourself differently. And soon, every item around you becomes a reflection of the life you're building, not the one you left behind. Your home is supposed to feel like your safe space, your place to rest and recharge. But for a lot of people, their home has quietly turned into a storage unit for fear. Not loud fear, not panic, but fear that hides in everyday choices. Fear disguised as just in case. You might think you're being smart, being prepared, being careful. But deep down, a lot of what you hold on to has nothing to do with preparation and everything to do with fear. Fear of needing something one day. Fear of making the wrong decision. Fear of regret. Fear of change. And here's the truth. A home full of fear keeps you living small. Take a look around your home and really see it for what it is. That closet packed with clothes you haven't worn in years? Fear. You tell yourself, what if I lose weight? What if I gain weight? What if I need this for some special event that doesn't even exist yet? That box of old electronics, cables, chargers, and phones you'll fix one day? Fear. Fear that you might need it if something breaks, even though it's been untouched for years. Those old gifts you never liked but still keep because, what if they find out I gave it away? That's fear too, fear of what other people will think. Fear of judgment. Fear of disappointing someone who probably doesn't even remember giving it to you. This is what fear looks like when it's disguised as responsibility. You think you're being careful, but what you're really doing is building a home full of emotional anchors, objects that quietly tell you, you can't let go. You might need me. You're not ready for change. Fear doesn't shout. It whispers. It hides in the little decisions you make every day. Keep it. You might regret it later. Hold on. What if you can't replace it? Don't let go. Something bad might happen. These whispers seem harmless, but they have real effects on your mindset. They train you to live defensively instead of boldly. They keep you from moving forward because you're too busy holding on to things that don't even serve you anymore. The result? Your home becomes a reflection of hesitation instead of growth. And when your environment reflects hesitation, it slowly becomes who you are. You start second-guessing yourself more. You start doubting your decisions. You start living in what if instead of what's next. Here's what most people don't realize. You're not really keeping an object. You're keeping what it represents: security, memories, identity. But the truth is, you don't need the object to keep the lesson. You don't need the old business suit to prove you were ambitious once. You don't need the broken laptop to prove you were resourceful. You don't need a closet full of clothes that don't fit to remind you of who you once were. All those lessons, all those experiences are already inside you. The object isn't helping you anymore. It's just taking up space and whispering fear every time you see it. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself. Take one box, one drawer, one shelf. Pick up each item and ask, am I keeping this because I actually use it, or because I'm afraid to let it go? If the answer is fear, it goes in the donation box, the trash bag, or wherever it needs to go to leave your space for good. Yes, fear will resist. It will tell you, what if you need it later? But here's what you say back. If I ever need it later, I'll find another way. But right now, my peace is worth more than this object. Because that's the trade-off you're making. Peace for possessions, clarity for clutter, forward momentum for fear. And fear is always the bad deal. The minute you start removing fear-based items, your space changes. Feels lighter. You feel lighter. You start walking into your room and feeling ready instead of hesitant. You start opening your closet without feeling judged by your own clothes. You stop holding on to old objects that carry an energy of doubt and start surrounding yourself with things that say, I'm confident. I'm free. I'm moving forward. That shift is powerful. It's like flipping a switch in your brain. Suddenly, you're not second-guessing everything. You're not living in a mental state of what if. You're living in, I can handle it. This is about more than just stuff. It's about identity. Fear says you need to hold on to things just in case. Freedom says, I trust myself to handle what comes next, with or without this object. That's what letting go teaches you, self-trust. It teaches you that you don't need safety nets made of clutter. You don't need backup plans stacked in a corner gathering dust. You have yourself, your skills, your resilience, and that is enough. Pick one fear-based area. Could be that junk drawer, that shelf of someday items, or the closet full of clothes you don't wear. Hold each item and ask, am I keeping this out of confidence or fear? Decide fast. If it's fear, it goes. Don't negotiate with fear. It will always win if you give it time. Remove it immediately. Don't box it up for later sorting. Physically remove it from your home. Notice how you feel. That lightness? That's what freedom feels like. Remember it every time fear tells you to hold on. Imagine walking into your home and every single item you see is there because you chose it intentionally, not because you were scared to let it go. Your space would feel lighter, sharper, more alive. You'd wake up with more focus because your environment would no longer pull you back into hesitation. And every time you look around, you'd feel supported by your home, not controlled by it. That's the power of removing fear from your space. This isn't just cleaning. This is courage. This is trust. This is creating a space that pushes you toward who you're becoming instead of holding you hostage to who you were afraid to stop being. There's a quiet kind of pain that a lot of people carry every day. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's that sinking feeling when you look around and think, I should be further by now. You look at your life, your progress, your plans, and you compare it to some imaginary timeline you created years ago. And when your reality doesn't match that picture, you feel behind. But what if I told you this? You're not behind, you're being tricked by your environment. One of the biggest reasons people feel stuck is because their home has become a scoreboard they never asked for. Everywhere they look, they see reminders of what they didn't finish, what they didn't accomplish, what hasn't happened yet. That vision board with goals from 3 years ago that never became real. Those notebooks full of business ideas you abandoned. That certificate from a course you took but never used. That journal you stopped writing in because it reminded you of how many days you skipped. These items don't inspire you, they shame you. They quietly whisper, you should be further. You should have done more. You're late. And even though you're still trying, even though you're still showing up, you feel like you're failing. Your home is not just walls and furniture. It's a reflection of your mind. If your space constantly says, you're behind, you start living like someone who's behind. You wake up already feeling pressure. You work from a place of panic instead of focus. You go to bed feeling like no matter how much you did, it wasn't enough. That pressure chips away at your motivation. It makes it hard to enjoy your present because you're always staring at reminders of the future that hasn't happened yet. The sad part? Most of these reminders were created by you. You built the vision board when you were inspired. You bought the tools when you believed in your plan. You set the timeline because you wanted to change. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes those same reminders stop being inspiration and start being judgment. And when that happens, it's time to let them go. Letting go of something that makes you feel behind doesn't mean the goal was bad. It doesn't mean the dream was meaningless. It means you're giving yourself permission to stop punishing yourself for being human. Because life isn't a straight line. Things take longer than you thought. Some paths change entirely. Some dreams evolve into new ones. But if your home keeps telling the story of who you thought you'd be by now, you'll never fully step into who you actually are. Do this. Walk into every room with one question in mind. Does this object make me feel proud, or does it make me feel behind? You'll know instantly. Your body will tell you. You'll feel that small dip in your chest, that tiny sigh, that quick thought. I really should have done more with this. That's your signal. That's the thing to remove. It might be the pile of half-used planners from new starts you abandoned, that treadmill covered in clothes, the old work folders from a job you outgrew but still feel guilty about leaving, a box of expensive materials from a hobby you lost interest in. These aren't neutral objects. They're mental weights. And every time you see them, you lose just a little bit of energy. Energy you need for the present, not the past. Sometimes, the reason we feel behind is because we're holding on to a version of life that no longer fits us. You set a goal when you were a different person. You wanted something because of who you were at the time. And then you grew. But the object stayed. And now, every time you see it, you feel guilty. Guilty for not chasing something you don't even want anymore. It's time to release that guilt. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to say, that was a dream for the old me, and it doesn't belong here anymore. Your space feels lighter. You stop waking up to reminders that pressure you. You start waking up to clarity. Because here's the truth. You're not behind. You're just carrying old timelines. And once you remove them, your mind resets. You stop living in imaginary deadlines and start focusing on what actually matters today. You start building from where you are instead of where you thought you'd be by now. Pick one area you avoid. Maybe it's the shelf of old notebooks or the vision board that's haunting you. Hold each item and ask, does this make me feel encouraged or ashamed? Release what hurts. Donate, recycle, or toss it. But don't put it back for later. Replace guilt with grace. Write one note to yourself that says, I'm building at my own pace now, and that's enough. Put that where the old reminder used to be. Your home shouldn't feel like a scoreboard. It shouldn't feel like it's judging you. It should feel like a clean slate. A place where new energy can grow, where new ideas can breathe, where you can focus on what's ahead, not what's missing. So, take those old reminders and release them. Not because you failed. Not because you gave up. But because you respect yourself enough to say, I'm not competing with an outdated version of me. I'm creating something better right now. That's how you stop feeling behind. Not by running faster, but by removing what tells you you're already late. There are things in your home right now that you don't like looking at. Maybe you've even stopped noticing them, but deep down, you know they're there. They're tied to moments that hurt, decisions you regret, chapters of your life you wish you could erase. Sometimes they're obvious. A picture from a broken relationship, an old gift from someone who betrayed you, an object from a time when you felt completely lost. Other times they're subtle. A piece of furniture you bought during your lowest point, clothes from when you were struggling, or items you keep, just because, but feel a pang of sadness every time you see them. These things aren't just objects. They're emotional triggers. They pull you back into moments you've tried so hard to move past. And every day they sit in your home, they quietly remind you of a story you don't want to relive. You think it's harmless to keep them. You think, it's just a thing. It's not hurting me. I'm over it. But you're not as over it as you think. Every time you see it, even for a split second, your brain flashes back to that breakup you never fully healed from, to that job you hated but stayed at too long, to that mistake you made that still stings years later. You push those feelings down and keep walking, but the weight stays. And here's the truth. You can't fully step into your next chapter if your home keeps pulling you back into your old one. Why do we keep things that hurt us? Guilt. You feel like throwing it out is disrespectful or wasteful. Nostalgia. Even if it was painful, it's still a part of your story. Fear. What if letting go means losing part of who you were? But keeping painful reminders doesn't honor your past. Chains you to it. You don't need objects to validate that a moment happened. You lived it. You learned from it. The lesson is already inside you. The item? That's just weight now. Healing doesn't mean erasing you. Our past, it means removing what keeps you trapped in it. If there's something in your home that instantly brings up regret, sadness, or anger, that's not a neutral object. That's a wound. And wounds don't close when you keep poking them. Every time you see that thing, your nervous system reacts. You might not consciously think about it, but your body remembers. Your chest tightens. Your mood shifts. Your energy dips. You deserve to live in a space that lifts you, not one that replays your worst memories. This requires honesty. Walk through your home and stop at every corner, every drawer, every shelf. Hold each item and ask, does this bring me peace or pain? You already know the answer. You feel it immediately. That old photo that makes your stomach twist. That gift from someone who hurt you. That piece of jewelry from a relationship that ended badly. That reminder of a decision you wish you never made. Those are the items to release. Yes, it's emotional. You might cry. You might hesitate. That's normal. But here's the question. Do you want to carry that weight for another year? Another 5 years? Another decade? Because keeping it won't make it better. Keeping it won't fix the past. All it does is keep you emotionally anchored to something that already took enough from you. When you let go, you're not saying, it didn't matter. You're saying, it mattered, but I'm done carrying it now. The first time you remove one of these painful items, something changes inside you. You feel a release, like you can finally breathe deeper. You realize you've been holding on, not just physically but emotionally. Your home starts to feel lighter. You feel lighter. And then it hits you. This was never about the object. It was about permission. Permission to stop reliving pain and start choosing peace. Pick one item. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start with one. Feel it fully. Hold it and acknowledge the memory it represents. Thank it. Literally say, thank you for what you taught me, but I don't need you anymore. Remove it immediately. Donate it, recycle it, throw it away, whatever it takes to remove it from your daily space. Replace it with something healing. A plant, a photo that brings joy, a note that affirms your growth. Your home shouldn't feel like an emotional minefield. You shouldn't have to tiptoe around objects that carry pain. Your space should feel like a sanctuary, a place where you can rest, recover, and move forward without being pulled back into old wounds. So make the choice today. Remove one thing that holds you to a painful past decision. It might feel hard at first, but the peace you'll feel afterward will be worth it. You'll walk into your space and feel calm instead of triggered, light instead of heavy, hopeful instead of stuck. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck isn't because they don't know what to do. It's not because they lack ambition. It's because their environment slows them down before they even start. Your home might look harmless, but hidden in your daily space are momentum killers, things that quietly delay your next step, steal your energy, and make progress feel heavier than it needs to be. Look around your home. That pile of unopened packages you've been meaning to deal with. Those half-finished projects stacked in the corner. That box of one-day items for a hobby you haven't touched in months. That drawer full of random tools you never use but feel guilty throwing away. These things don't seem like a big deal, but they carry weight. Every time you see them, they trigger a decision you've been postponing. And every postponed decision costs you energy. When you live in a space full of, I'll get to it later items, you train your brain to tolerate avoidance. You start thinking it's normal to look at things you haven't dealt with yet and just walk past them. But your brain doesn't ignore them, not really. It notices every time. It adds one more mental note, one more unfinished task, one more reason to feel behind. The result? You feel tired, even when you haven't done anything yet. You feel overwhelmed for no obvious reason. And you start procrastinating in other areas of life too. Not because you're lazy, but because you're carrying silent mental weight. If you want to move faster, you need your home to support speed and focus. That means clearing out anything that forces you to pause, hesitate, or make an unnecessary decision. Because when your environment is clear, your brain works better. You make faster choices. You stop wasting time shuffling through clutter. You feel ready to act without being pulled into guilt or hesitation. Progress isn't just about discipline. It's about designing your surroundings so progress is easier than delay. Old business materials from a project you abandoned but haven't admitted to yourself is over. Fitness equipment you don't use but keep, just in case you start again someday. Stacks of paperwork from jobs, projects, or financial matters you already handled but never filed or shredded. Collections of future projects that quietly remind you of what you haven't done. These things aren't helping you. They're delaying you. Pick one small area. Don't start with the whole house. Pick a drawer, a shelf, or one corner. Ask one question. Does this move me forward or hold me in place? If it doesn't move you forward, it goes. No, maybe later. No excuses. Finish the decision immediately. Don't box it up for later sorting. Remove it from your daily space today. Notice the shift. That lightness, that sense of control, that burst of focus, you'll feel it almost instantly. One reason people keep momentum-killing clutter is because of potential. You think, I might use this one day. What if I need it later? What if I finally start that project? But here's the truth. Potential doesn't live in unused objects. It lives in you. If something has been sitting untouched for a year, it's not helping your potential. It's holding it hostage. Free yourself from that guilt. If it's not serving you now, it's slowing you down. The moment you remove those, I'll deal with it later items, your space starts to work for you instead of against you. You walk into a room and feel calm instead of heavy. You sit down to work and don't feel pulled into old tasks. You start handling decisions faster because your brain isn't overloaded with clutter signals. Your day flows better because you've removed the friction. This isn't about being neat or minimalist. It's about momentum. It's about creating an environment that says, I'm ready for the next step right now, not someday. When your home stops delaying you, you stop delaying yourself. And that small change leads to big results. Faster action. More focus. More energy for the things that actually matter. Pick one thing you've been avoiding. That project in the corner. That box under the bed. That stack of papers on the counter. Handle it. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. The momentum you feel from that one action will surprise you. Because momentum builds fast when your space isn't holding you back. Your home should feel like a launch pad. A place where you wake up and feel ready to take on the day. But for many people, their home has quietly turned into the opposite. It's not loud, it's not chaotic, but it has one powerful effect. It drains motivation. The energy of your space either lifts you or holds you down. And if your home is full of signals that say relax, delay, skip, avoid, then your motivation will constantly feel like a fight instead of a flow. Look at your space right now. Really look at it. Is your bed always messy when you wake up? Is your desk buried under random things that don't belong there? Do you have a chair in the corner stacked with laundry? Are there items lying around that remind you of half-effort, procrastination, or low standards? These aren't harmless details. They're signals your brain is constantly processing, telling you, this is normal, this is acceptable. You don't need to push yourself today. And over time, you start to believe it. Motivation doesn't come from nowhere. It's heavily influenced by what you see every day. When your space is cluttered, lazy, or full of unfinished, you subconsciously lower your standards. You think, I'll deal with it later. It's not that bad. It can wait another day. But later turns into weeks, then months. And while you're waiting, your environment keeps telling you to settle. That's why some people can't figure out why they feel unmotivated. They think it's them. But it's not just them. It's their surroundings quietly programming them to slow down. The gaming console that pulls you into hours of mindless scrolling or playing instead of working on your goals. The overly comfortable couch that eats entire weekends while you promise you'll just relax for a few minutes. The stack of magazines or junk mail you never read but keep glancing at, losing focus every time. The broken lamp or furniture you keep meaning to fix but never do, reminding you of unfinished tasks every time you see it. Old posters or decor that don't inspire you anymore but still hang on the walls out of habit. These things send a message even if you don't notice it. Stay where you are. Don't push harder. Don't aim higher. Your environment trains your mind. If your home says, it's okay to be sloppy, to delay, to ignore what needs doing, guess what? That standard leaks into your work, your relationships, your decisions. On the flip side, if your home says, I value focus, clarity, and progress, you start living that way without even trying. You stand taller, you think sharper, you show up with more energy. This is why elite performers keep their spaces intentional. They don't leave their motivation up to chance. They design for it. Walk through your home slowly. Pay attention to your energy when you see certain things. Does that chair full of laundry make you feel accomplished or tired? Does your messy desk inspire focus or avoidance? Does your entertainment setup encourage creativity or distraction? Your body will tell you. If you feel even a small dip in energy when you see something, that's a motivation killer. You don't need a big plan. You don't need a weekend marathon cleaning session. Just pick one thing today. Fold the laundry and clear the chair. Clean off the desk so it's ready for focus. Remove decor or items that don't reflect who you want to be anymore. The goal isn't perfection. It's momentum. Every cleared item sends a new message to your brain. This is who I am now. I take action. I keep my space ready. Think about it. A messy, heavy space makes it easier to skip workouts, procrastinate on work, and stay glued to distractions. A clean, intentional space makes it easier to stay consistent, focused, and disciplined. You don't have to force motivation when your environment supports it. It becomes the natural response. It's not just physical clutter. Digital clutter drains you too. A phone packed with distracting apps you don't need. A laptop desktop covered in random files you never use. Notifications constantly pulling your attention away. Clear that out as well. A phone that's designed for focus, not distraction, will give you back hours of productive energy every week. The moment you start removing things that drag you down, your energy shifts. You wake up and feel ready instead of heavy. You sit down to work and don't have to fight through resistance just to start. Your standards rise. Because now your space reflects who you're becoming, not who you were when you settled. This isn't about being perfect. This is about giving yourself a fair chance to succeed every day. Pick one area that feels lazy. The messy corner, the distraction station, the place where tasks pile up. Remove one item that represents settling or avoidance. Replace it with something that inspires action. A clean surface, a motivational quote, a plant, a vision of what's next. You'll feel it instantly. That quiet shift in your energy. That voice in your head saying, let's go. Because motivation isn't something you wait for. It's something you design for. And it starts with one decision. Stop living in a space that pulls you down and start building one that pushes you forward. We all have them. Those things we keep hidden in a box, in a drawer, or on a shelf we never touch. Things we don't want to deal with because they hold memories, emotions, or truths we're not ready to face. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The envelope full of old letters you haven't opened in years. The box from a relationship that ended badly. The folder on your laptop you keep meaning to sort through, but never do because you already know what's inside. These are not neutral objects, they're anchors. And as long as they stay in your space, they control you. Avoidance feels safe at first. You tell yourself, I'll deal with it later, when I'm ready, when I have more time. But later never comes. Meanwhile, those things sit there like a shadow, quietly draining your energy. You don't think about them constantly, but every time you walk past that drawer or see that box, a part of you tenses. You feel it in your chest, in your stomach, in the little voice that says, not today, not yet. That voice is costing you peace. It's taking up mental energy you don't even realize you're losing. Here's the truth. Anything you avoid has power over you. You might think ignoring it makes it easier, but the opposite is true. Every time you avoid facing something, you give it control. You let it dictate your feelings, your decisions, even your confidence. Because deep down you know, I still haven't dealt with that. And that unfinished business, whether it's emotional or practical, keeps you stuck. Is it a memory from a time you were hurt? Is it a mistake you made and haven't forgiven yourself for? Is it a reminder of a version of yourself you're ashamed of? Is it something you promised to handle but keep avoiding because it feels too heavy? Whatever it is, it's not just sitting quietly. It's shaping your energy every single day. You've already survived the moment that object represents. You went through it. You're still here. So why let a box, a folder, or a letter hold more power than the person you've become since then? Facing what you've been avoiding doesn't mean reliving pain. It means reclaiming power. It means saying, this no longer controls me. I decide what stays in my life and what goes. Pick one avoided area. That box, that drawer, that folder, it's time. Open it fully. Don't half look. Don't skim. Face it. Allow the emotions. If you feel sad, angry, or even scared, let it come. That's proof you're healing. Decide. Keep, release, or destroy. If it helps your growth, keep it intentionally. If it holds only pain, let it go. If it's toxic, destroy it completely, yes, even if it feels extreme. Close the chapter. Say out loud, this no longer controls me. The moment you face something you've been avoiding, you feel lighter. Your body relaxes in a way you didn't know it could. You stop carrying silent tension every time you walk past that spot. You feel more confident, not because the past changed, but because you changed how you hold it. Avoidance creates fear. Action creates freedom. Holding on to things you're afraid to face keeps you tied to an old identity. A version of you that didn't have answers, that was hurt, or that felt powerless. When you deal with those things, you send yourself a powerful message. I'm not that version of me anymore. I'm stronger now. Your home should reflect that truth. It should say, I faced what needed to be faced, and now I'm free to grow. Today, pick one thing you've been avoiding. That box under the bed. That folder on your computer. That pile of papers you've been scared to go through. Handle it. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. The courage it takes to do that will ripple into everything else in your life. You'll speak up more. You'll take action faster. You'll trust yourself more. Because if you can face what scared you in your own home, you can face anything outside of it. Letting go of what you're afraid to face isn't about throwing things away. It's about reclaiming yourself. It's about saying, I decide what defines me. Not my mistakes, not my pain, not my old fears. And when you do that, you unlock a new level of peace, energy, and focus. Your home feels lighter. You feel lighter. That's how change begins, not with perfection, but with one bold decision to finally face what you've been avoiding. At some point in life, you outgrow certain parts of yourself. Your mindset changes. Your habits evolve. Your values shift. The version of you that once needed certain things is not the version of you standing here today. And yet, your home might still be telling the story of who you used to be. Look around your home. How many things are you keeping just because they remind you of an old version of yourself? The clothes from a time when your confidence came only from how you looked. The journals filled with negative self-talk that no longer reflects who you are. The tools from hobbies or habits you outgrew but feel guilty letting go of. The notes, gifts, or tokens from relationships that no longer exist. These things are not just objects. They're identity anchors. And every time you see them, even for a moment, they pull you back into the life you worked so hard to move beyond. We tell ourselves we're just holding on to memories. But often, what we're holding on to is fear. Fear that letting go means losing part of who we were. Fear that if we don't keep these things, we're rejecting an important chapter of our life. Fear that without them, we'll forget who we used to be. But here's the truth. You are not your stuff. You are not the clothes you used to wear, the tools you used to use, or the relationships you used to be in. You are the person who grew beyond them. Your growth doesn't disappear when you remove an old object. The lesson is already inside you. The resilience is already inside you. The wisdom is already inside you. Keeping objects tied to old versions of yourself doesn't honor your past. It limits your present. Because every time you see them, they whisper, "Remember who you used to be?" And whether you realize it or not, that whisper shapes how you feel about yourself today. Imagine waking up in a home where everything around you supports your current identity. Clothes that fit your current style and confidence. Books that reflect how you think now, not how you thought years ago. Decor and notes that lift you toward your vision, not pull you back to old patterns. That's not just a clean home, that's an aligned home. A space that reinforces who you are now, not who you were trying to stop being. Walk through your home and ask one question. Does this reflect who I am today or who I used to be? You'll feel the answer. If something instantly pulls you back into an old mindset, relationship, or habit, it's no longer serving you. It's not helping you grow. It's keeping you tied to an outdated version of yourself. When you remove reminders of who you no longer are, something powerful happens. Your confidence grows because your environment matches your identity. You stop feeling inner conflict every time you see something that doesn't fit your life anymore. You start waking up in a space that feels like a reflection of your present, not your past. This is emotional clarity on a physical level. Pick one room. Don't overthink. Just start somewhere. Identify items tied to your old identity. Ask, does this belong to who I am now or who I used to be? Release with gratitude. Say, thank you for being part of my journey, but I don't need you anymore. Replace intentionally. Add one thing or nothing at all that aligns with your current life and goals. Letting go of old identity items doesn't mean disrespecting your past. It means honoring it enough to move forward. It means saying, that chapter served me, but I'm writing a new one now. Your growth deserves space. And that space comes from removing what belongs to the person you fought to outgrow. At first, it might feel strange to let go of things you've had for years, even decades. You might feel sadness or even guilt. That's normal. But as soon as those things leave, you'll notice something else. Peace. Your space feels lighter, your mind feels sharper, and your energy feels freer. Because now, every item in your home says, this is me, right now, today. No more mixed signals. No more silent reminders of who you're not anymore. Pick one item that feels like it belongs to the old you. A piece of clothing you haven't worn in years. A gift from someone you no longer speak to. A notebook full of thoughts that don't reflect how you see yourself anymore. Remove it today and feel the shift. Feel how your space and energy immediately feel more aligned. You've already grown. You've already changed. Now it's time for your environment to catch up. Cutting out reminders of who you're no longer is how you step fully into who you are now and who you're becoming next. Because you're not here to live in the shadow of your old self. You're here to build a future that matches your present strength and clarity. Stress isn't always loud. It doesn't always show up as shouting, rushing, or chaos. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, hiding in your home in ways you don't even notice. That quiet stress builds over time. It shows up in your mood, your sleep, and your energy. And because it's subtle, you don't even realize your environment is one of the main reasons you feel so drained. Silent stress often comes from things you've learned to tolerate. That crowded countertop you stopped noticing. The messy drawer you avoid opening. The pile of papers that's not urgent, but always in your line of sight. The clutter in your inbox or the unfinished to-do list that sits on your fridge. None of these things are dramatic enough to scream, problem, but they quietly whisper, you're not done. You're behind. There's something wrong here. That constant background noise keeps your mind in a low-level state of tension. Silent stress doesn't feel like a crisis, so you don't prioritize fixing it. You tell yourself, it's fine. I'll get to it eventually. But meanwhile, it lowers your ability to focus. Makes you feel restless even when you're trying to relax. Wakes you up already feeling heavy before your day even starts. The worst part? You start thinking this is normal. You accept the heavy feeling as just how life is. But it's not life. It's your environment constantly triggering your brain to stay on alert. A sink with just a few dishes that never seems empty. A chair with just one stack of clothes that never seems clear. A box of things you don't know where to put but also won't throw away. A space full of items that belong to no category. Random, misplaced, unfinished. And every one of these things tells your mind, there's more to do. You're not done yet. Your home is supposed to be your reset button. A place where you can walk in, breathe deep, and feel safe. But if your home is quietly stressing you out, you never fully relax. Even when you sit down, your brain stays busy. That's why clearing silent stress isn't just about cleaning. It's about creating a space where your nervous system can finally calm down. Take a slow walk through your home and notice your reactions. Does this space make me feel relaxed or tense? Does this item make me feel calm or pressured? Is there something I keep avoiding because I don't want to deal with it? If it causes tension, even if it's small, it's a stress trigger. Handle one nagging item today. That pile, that drawer, that stack of mail. Clear it completely. Create one clear surface. A table, a counter, a shelf. Make one space totally clean and empty. Digitally declutter. Delete or organize files that create silent stress every time you open your laptop or phone. Make things easy to maintain. If a space gets messy too easily, reorganize it so it's simpler to keep clear. Silent stress isn't only physical. Think about your digital environment. Notifications constantly pulling your focus. A desktop full of random files you never use. A cluttered email inbox full of unread messages. These things drain your mental energy just as much as physical clutter. Clearing them gives you the same kind of relief. Focus, calm, and a sense of control. When you clear these triggers, you feel it immediately. Your breathing slows. Your body relaxes naturally. You focus better and feel less rushed, even when you're busy. You actually enjoy being at home because it finally feels like a place for rest, not work. And the best part? Silent stress doesn't come back easily once you fix the systems that caused it. A little intentional design keeps your environment supportive, peaceful, and light. Imagine waking up and feeling instantly calm because your space feels simple, clear, and intentional. Imagine coming home and actually feeling rested instead of overwhelmed by what's waiting for you. That's what happens when you stop accepting silent stress as normal and choose to remove it on purpose. Pick one small thing you've been tolerating, just one. Fix it completely today. Throw it out, clean it up, organize it, or delete it. Notice how different it feels to have that thing gone. That's the feeling of clarity. That's the feeling of control. That's the first step toward a home that resets you instead of drains you. Clutter isn't always laziness. In fact, for many people, clutter is strategy, an unconscious way to avoid facing what really needs to change. It gives you something to look at, something to shuffle, something to organize later, so you don't have to face the real work. You feel busy but not productive. You feel surrounded but not supported. The hard truth? Clutter is often just procrastination in disguise. Think about the things you keep telling yourself you'll deal with someday. The box of random stuff you haven't opened in years. The drawers packed with items that don't even belong there. The shelf full of tools, supplies, or materials for a project you already gave up on. These things aren't neutral. They're distractions. They're emotional shields. You might tell yourself, I can't work on my big goals yet because my space isn't ready. I'll focus on my health or finances or career after I get organized. But the truth is, you could have started already, you're just using clutter as an excuse. Clutter gives you something to do without actually risking failure. You can rearrange, organize, or even hide things without ever stepping into real discomfort. But here's the problem. Safety isn't growth. Clutter keeps you in a loop of movement without momentum. You feel like you're working on your life, but you're actually just rearranging old problems. Clutter is a story you're telling yourself every item you keep, just in case. Every pile you never sort through, every drawer you avoid. It's telling you a story. You're not ready yet. You're not disciplined enough. You'll deal with it later because you can't handle it now. And over time, you start believing that story. But you're not that story. You're not stuck. You're not weak. You're someone who's been avoiding pain, but you're also someone capable of facing it and moving forward. The moment you destroy clutter that keeps you avoiding change, you take back power. Your space stops being an excuse and starts being a tool. Your mind stops circling around old decisions and starts focusing on new actions. You feel lighter, not just physically, but emotionally. Because clutter is not just physical, it's mental. It fills your thoughts with old energy, old tasks, and old guilt. When it's gone, so is the noise. Pick one avoidance zone. It might be a closet, a garage corner, or a digital folder you've ignored for months. Sort fast and brutally. Ask for every item. Is this helping me move forward or holding me still? Handle the emotional weight. If it's hard to let go, acknowledge the feeling. This served me once, but it doesn't serve me now. Then release it. Finish the decision today. Don't move clutter to a new location. Remove it completely. Replace with purpose. If you need something there, put something that represents where you're going, not where you've been. You can't step fully into your next level while living in a space built for your old one. Your habits, routines, and mindset will always default to your environment. So if your home is full of reminders of unfinished work and avoided decisions, you'll keep feeling like you're not ready. But once you clear it, you wake up and feel energized instead of heavy. You take action because nothing in your space tells you to delay. You stop feeling stuck because your environment no longer matches stuck. This is about honesty. About saying, I'm done avoiding the work I know I need to do. Clutter is often the physical proof of emotional hesitation. When you clear it, you're not just cleaning, you're committing to real change. Find one clutter pile or one hidden area you've been avoiding and clear it completely. Not halfway, not reorganized, completely. The sense of momentum you feel afterward will be more powerful than you expect because it's not just about space, it's about identity. You stop being someone who avoids and start being someone who acts. Imagine walking through your home and feeling no resistance. No guilt, no hesitation, no someday. Imagine having a space so aligned with your goals that it feels like it's pulling you forward instead of holding you back. That's what happens when you destroy avoidance clutter. You stop living in survival mode and start building with clarity and speed. Your home shapes your life. It's not just where you sleep or store your stuff. It's where your habits live, your energy resets, and your future begins. When you remove what holds you back, whether it's reminders of failure, fear-based objects, outdated identities, silent stress, or avoidance clutter, you create room for something bigger, your next chapter. Your home becomes a reflection of strength, clarity, and forward momentum. And when your home pushes you forward, your life follows. So take action today, not later. Your future self will thank you for the space you create right now.